behind the scenes with Reva Hart. Man, this lady, I don't even know. I don't know what to say. I want to jump. I want to scream. I want to holler. I want to. I want to pull out a tambourine. She ended SatHERday's with Shalimar J. She's got me on a whole nother wavelength. Oh goodness, I hear the
Ah,
song, nothing but the blood. So I want
come
to,
on.
but Reva Hart is with us, and she was sharing her story about her experiences with trauma, abuse, cycles being broken, healing, restoration, finding God, having a God experience. God is so amazing,
Mm,
and I'm going to let her tell you how he met her and how she met him. Um, those of you who are watching after the show behind the scenes who weren't able to tune in to SatHERday's with Shalimar J, you missed a treat. Got to make sure you tune in on Saturday regularly. But at least she'll be able to share some more with you guys so that you can hear the story. And those who watched it earlier and following us after the show, you got an extra treat on today. So Reva, thank you for staying back
thank
after the
you.
show and doing this behind the scenes. You're welcome. I'm going to leave it in your hands as I did earlier. So just talk to us, share with us. I know you opened up a lot and you shared quite a bit. But if you don't mind, going back down that road again to whatever direction you want, I'm open to it. I'm all right with it. But if you don't mind, as I was saying, just talk to us and share with us again about your experiences as a child and then as an adult, your encounter with the one and only true God.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you again. It is a honor. You have a powerful platform, and I just pray God's
Thank
speed
you.
and blessings for you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You're giving me an opportunity to have a voice, even though I have a podcast. I am allowing others to have a voice, and so you're giving me today an opportunity to have a voice, and I thank you for that. Um,
Thank you.
as Shalimar was saying, domestic violence, and it affected me, um, my self-esteem, my confidence. It affected my learning, my affected my ability to be social. I was either too attached in relationships, or I couldn't get attached. I'm too distant from being in that experience. It followed me. I end up drawing people to me, including relationships that look like what I grew up in. And with that being said, I was in a relationship. Um, he ended up being murdered before me. From that, I had to pick up and get myself together, and I had to go to school, which was very difficult. And the end result was I dropped out of high school. I dropped out of high school in the ninth grade. Um, and I found myself wandering. I was in the streets doing lots of things. My feet traveled in areas that I should not have been in at an age of 15, 16, 17 years old, doing things that I should not have been doing. And I end up getting married at 21, was pregnant with my daughter at 19, got married at 21, had 5 children, all before the age of 25. Found myself in cycles of homelessness, cycles of trauma, just being in places where I shouldn't have been. The enemy was trying to take me out at a very young age up to a young adult. And as you started sharing with my mother after I did have my encounter in my living room on the floor, didn't know who Christ was. I'm just crying and having a literal breakdown. Bishop Bronner in Atlanta was ministering, doing a live TV show. and he was ministering, and he began to prophetically speak and say, there's a young lady sitting on the floor right now. You feel like you're losing your mind. Christ is going to come into your living room, and you're going to have an encounter. He began to say even more specific details, which caused my attention to say, oh my God, is he talking to me? What is he talking about? And I was like, what is this? What is he talking about? Like, it's, what? And I did. I had an encounter. The presence came all over my head. I felt this heavy, heavy presence. And I just began to weep. And it was like a purifying weep. I went from having a
Mhm.
panic, frantic breakdown to I was just wailing in release. And my life changed from that day on. I was in pursuit of my healing, my wholeness. I was in pursuit of figuring out why was I the one in my family that was, one, able to survive what I was going through. Two, that you allowed me to see things in a different way. I did not know, as one of my favorite teachers, Dr. Faith Wamaka, says, you're marked. And she mentioned things like that. If you have, you live differently, and you're always having these near death experiences from childhood. And as I started speaking to my mother, I found out that my parents used to be so worried about me. I was getting hit by cars at a young age, getting up out of the street, walking away. I was getting things dropped on me, poles in my head at 4 or 5. There was so many broken collarbone, third-degree burns. It was continuous. Where I realized, and I want to speak to a lot of my sisters that have experienced cycles of trauma. I want to encourage you to implore the idea that you may be marked to change the trajectory of your family, because I
Mhm.
was. I dropped out of high school in ninth grade, and I am now holding a master's degree. I am a director of operations for a clinical medical laboratory that deals with the blood. How ironic. God is so good to me. He let nothing goes to waste. And also he wanted to make sure I was constantly reminded there was nothing but his blood that saved me. It was nothing but his blood that changed my life. It was nothing but his blood that covered me. And I want to just let you guys know, was this journey easy? No, it's some days I still cry. God, why? Why? I carried a lot of the wounds in my emotional realm, and I lacked a lot of parental guidance. So I had arrested development, and I needed things to help me grow up, even after I was married, even after I had 5 children. And he was gracious. He sent people my way. I sought out people. I sought out mentors. I sought out um, um, in my church to constantly stay grounded in being taught the word of God, so it can change my thinking, change my way of living. And I have changed. I've No one thought I would make it, especially a young girl coming from the street, broken home with 5 kids, and you dropped out of school in the ninth grade. Where you going? They said I wasn't going nowhere, but baby, I there was a plan, there was a destiny for my life. And with that, I have now changed some generations. Even my mother's still living, but I have helped change her life because I chose to pursue the Lord. I knew he had a plan. He's promised he had a plan. He said he's not a God that he shall lie. So I held him to it. God, you said you weren't gonna lie. This is what your words say. So what is this for me? And before you know it, over a course of time, Shalimar, those cycles of stuff always happening. Something always going on in my household. Something always happening to my children. Those things started breaking. Why? Because I began to use the power of the word. I leaned on wise counsel. I employed and enlisted wise counsel. I sought out people that had the wisdom of God on them. I inundated my life. I was really different from anything that looked like from my biological family. And I can say today my children are very successful. They're very successful. There's no one has been able to reach the success heights of what my children are doing right now. And that, my friend, is you breaking generational curses and releasing the blessings of God that has been stored up for the generations for you, your generations to come, and your generations to come. That's my story. I know that I'm a curse breaker. Was it easy? Again, like I said, no. The hardest thing for me was Shalimar. The therapy wasn't that hard for me. I needed
Mhm.
that. It was comforting to that someone understood what I was going through.
Mhm.
The inner healing of renouncing, denouncing, forgiveness, that part was easy for me.
Mhm.
The hard part for me was when it was time for me to find God in my mess, in my trauma.
Mm.
Because in that moment, when I was having to work through that part of my life and my healing journey, it was so difficult. Why? Because I'm like, God, you wasn't there for me.
Mhm.
He's like, I was there. Find me. Find me. I was there. And that took me a while. It took me a while. It because I felt that I was abandoned by my parents, right?
Mhm.
Felt like I was left
Mhm.
alone and an orphan to figure this thing of life out. And so, of course, what it revealed, even as I was growing in my relationship with the Lord, and He's so generous, He didn't care. He still loved me. I was questioning Him too. I mean, I
Mhm.
used to be like I mentioned to you, I was like, God, now you said, I mean, I was saying it because I didn't believe in that. You gonna lie just like everybody else. You you
Mm.
gonna you just because I'm not perfect. That's why you doing this. That's why you got me going through this. And while I was even though I was being very honest and transparent in my walk and with the people that was walking with me, they still said, Riva, you still got to find God in this, and this is how you're gonna heal. It's gonna heal how you view Him. It's gonna heal your trust for Him. It's gonna heal your broken heart. That was the hardest part for me. Shalimar.
Mm-mm. I see you, Reva.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I ended up I'm trying to get me situated. Um, can you see me?
I can.
Okay. So yeah, we're gonna keep going. I ended up getting disconnected, oddly so. But we'll continue and it ended actually on a good note, because it's you said I can't remember what it was. It was something like a declaration that you were given. and it was a perfect declaration. So we're going to continue. I'm going to go back into the recording piece of it. So 1 second.
Okay.
Oh, we're still going. Let's keep going. We're still moving.
I, I think I ended with I was on a go. I love to talk, especially about healing. But I think where I ended, I was saying um that I know that I was marked to change the trajectory of my
Mhm.
blood.
You were. That's what you were saying.
Yeah, the trajectory of my bloodline. I mean, I think we all have those opportunities presented to us. We all are called to do that. And there's just some that may answer it, and some may feel that it's too hard to do, and that's okay. Um, God still love you, but I know that I was called to break the blood curse, the bloodline. I was an interruption in the bloodline.
I as you were talking about what your responsibility is as a mother breaking those generational curses. Um, and then, girl, you said that you were a curse breaker. I could have jumped. Um, not for show, but I know it. I understand the magnitude of that,
Mm-hmm.
the validity of it, and the power in it. That's what made me want to just because it excited me. And for an individual to get the revelation that that is what you are, we're women, we're birthers, we're nurturers by nature. And once you're able to make the connection, when you're able to understand all of the power that God gave us
Yes.
and believe it, and I'm talking to me too, because sometimes we got to remind ourselves. The
Yes.
preacher got to be preached to too. The preacher need a preacher to preach to them, right?
Yeah.
But when you get hold of that, baby, the stuff you can do, and then I'm listening to you, girl, and you, God is just. I heard you when you said He had you working with the blood so that you can be constantly reminded of the blood. The power is in the blood. It's because of the blood.
It's because of the blood.
It's because of the blood.
Come
Even
on.
the healing is in the blood.
The healing is in
Now,
the blood.
if we even talk about it, girl, I'm crying. I hope a little makeup no. But if we talk about it literally, now once
Hmm.
upon a time, I before I decided to go into education, I wanted to be a nurse. And I actually ended up going to school to become a medical assistant. There was this associate's degree program. So I was going to test the waters a little bit because I didn't know if I wanted to invest as much time and money into like a complete nursing program. But it was a degree, and I was like, yeah, I'm going to get it. So I started learning about the blood, and I learned about a centrifuge and how you separate the blood and the plasma and how the blood operates, how imperative the blood is. And sometimes when you lose blood and you try to replace the blood, it can't always be replaced. Sometimes you try to get transfusions and it don't always work because it was in the original blood. Girl, when I
Come
got the understanding of and when you went to talk about the blood, girl,
on. And the blood can be purified. Come on.
it can. It can, girl. I'm trying to keep my composure. I got quiet because I had to come on back. Oh,
He was,
Lordy. Um,
he was. He will
He
clean the
did that
blood.
thing for you, Reva. He he did it before he did it.
Yeah.
But when I hear stuff like this, it's like, even if you didn't know him,
Mm.
how can you not believe in him? Because this stuff is not explainable. And it used to bog my mind how people could believe in evil, but they can't believe in good. People
Yeah.
believe that they're witches and warlocks, and they
Ugh.
believe in all these other voodoo and all this other stuff. You could believe in that, but when it's the miraculous, it's like, that ain't real.
Mm-mm. Very
But if
miraculous.
evil is, so
Yeah.
is how is there one without the other?
Mm.
And
Come on.
so if people would just try it, I would rather, this is not my belief, okay? I don't believe this, but if I had to, I would much rather be dead wrong believing in God than dead wrong not believing in him.
Yes. Come
I
on.
would try my luck doing what this Bible tells me to do. I mean, all it is telling you to live right in essence,
Yeah.
have
It
faith
has all
and
that.
believe and do what you're supposed to do. What's
Yes.
wrong with doing that? Then to go, and my days are, my day has come and the day has come, and to hell I go. I can't be like, but wait, no, but see, listen, I thought, God, I didn't really know that. I can't do that then. The time is up. So I would much rather, if it were a question in my mind, if I would much rather live right, do right, and find out I was wrong, than, like I said, to not live right and do right, and find out that I was wrong.
That's right.
But he did a work in you. He is still doing a work in you.
Absolutely.
And
He's a transformational God.
he is. He
Yes,
is.
he is.
And what you are going to experience when your children can, when they get to the point, because we always learning, we're always living, we're always growing. But when they reach a peak,
Yes.
you and the level of gratitude that you're going to have, you're going to experience it to an extent that you've never experienced it before. It is
I
not
believe
about
it.
selfishness. It's not
Mm,
about, oh, I did that. It is,
mm-mm.
it's going to be a I did it, but it's not I did it and God didn't. It's a
That's
God,
right.
I did it. I made it through. I gave my children something I never had. Oh, I feel that thing. You are in a place emotionally and mentally and spiritually that you can provide those children and their children and their children's
Yes.
children
Come on.
with something that you didn't think you could ever have, that you
Mm-hmm.
felt was not attainable. And God was like, nah, baby, I'm about to show you what you thought you couldn't have. I already had it for you.
He
All
already
you had
did.
to do was open your hands
Come on. I have
and
to
grab it
seek him. I
and
searched
hold
and
on
seek
to it.
and
You
hold on.
did. And you were open. You were available to receive them. It's one thing to look and seek and you find it and you can't even get it because you're not open to receiving it.
Mm-hmm.
You sought him, you were broken, you cried out. You didn't even know you was crying out to him, but he heard your cry.
Right. Right. Shalimar,
He heard
right.
your cry. He set you up, and God knows how to reach us. He
Come
knew
on.
that that day you would be where you were and that that television would be on at that moment, and that was how and when he was going to be able to reach you.
Thank you, Jesus.
And he did it.
I owe
Y'all,
him.
we will talk forever because we talk about a good God, a great God, an awesome God,
An
a God
awesome.
whose work is never ending. His grace, his mercy extends beyond understanding. You
Yeah,
can't
he's
never stop talking about him.
to the
And what
glory.
he's done,
Yes, he's close. He's
he
near.
is
He's there. He's never left us. And I am
never.
a living example.
And his word will never return void.
His word will never return void.
And that's what the word says. He'll never leave us nor forsake us.
Never leave us.
That's the
Nor
word. So y'all, I thank you for joining us uh after the show behind the scenes. I will see y'all next week, Reva girl. I love you, honey.
love you
Thank you
too.
so
Thank
much.
you so much.
Um, made me cry. But it's
We,
good tears.
you've blessed
Um,
me. You just don't know I'm grateful for you. I'm very thankful and grateful. I appreciate you. And
ah,
I pray you will receive 100-fold for allowing the avenue for the voice to be heard of all us women, because that's what the enemy comes to do first, is still our voice. So I pray that you will reap 100-fold of the harvest of allowing a platform for voices to be heard. Thank you.
thank you, Reva. I appreciate that. All right, y'all. This is how it goes down after the show. Behind the scenes. Everything. The ups, the downs, the ins, the outs, the technical difficulties, and all of that
Yeah,
stuff is
worth it.
behind it. But thank you again, guys. Thank you again, Reba. Thank you, Lord. Um, all right. Well, until next time, guys, your scars, they are beautiful because they are your testimony. Tune in next week. Bye, guys.
Amen.
Woo.